Hello, how are you? This is Resilient Lives checking in on you, hoping that you had a great day. I had a great day. It seems like weather in a lot of the states have been wonderful, even in Chicago. And so I spent time walking outside. I couldn't believe it. I spent time sitting outside and just kind of gathering it all in. So I just want to check in with you, see how you're doing, how you're thriving. It just seems incredible that to have a beautiful day like this, that we are still in the midst of a pandemic. So I guess you can have joy and sorrow, and you balance it. Joy and sorrow, crises and opportunities at the same time. Now, where we left off last time, we talked about your valuable mind and staying well. So I'd like to start there with your valuable mind, your psychological capital, your brilliance. You know, in the war for talent, companies are looking for people who have what you have. You have hope. These are soft skills, but when you have it, it's not something that can be taught. It's something that you have. And so I just wanted to touch on that a little bit more, because hope during this time is really, really, really important, and we want to hold on to that. I don't know if you remember, we talked a little bit about that acronym HERO, which hope is a part of. If you have hope, then that means you're going to have that confidence, that willingness to succeed. Now, if you have E, you have that self-efficacy, and that's a confidence. And then the R was for resilience. You'll be able to bounce back. And the O was for optimism. You have a positive attitude. And those are things that we need right now. So you got it. Hold on to it and try to safeguard it. We talked a little bit also about some 9 ways to maintain your sanity, but some of the things that we did just today, being out in nature, yeah, it really was a wonderful feeling, because I was out there and the birds were chirping so loudly. I was on the phone and someone said, "Are those birds chirping?" I mean, you know, they had to be pretty loud that someone could hear it on your call. But those birds chirping and were things that were helping me to relax in nature. And so we want to do those things that are going to help us keep our stress down. And so hope is important. And I want to tell you a little funny thing about hope. I had gone in to get a facial, and I was talking to my friend about life topics, and we were talking and just pondering all the challenges of life. And for a moment she stopped and she said, would you like to meet Hope? And I was puzzled, because I was, thinking Hope was this intangible, and but I said, well, sure, I'd like to meet Hope. Show me some hope. And then she called her niece. Her niece was named Hope, and Hope was a masseuse in the other room. So I was tickled, because I said, well, goodness, thank goodness, I met Hope today. And so that was something that I could put in my little toolbox every time I want to think of something funny. Um, that will bring a smile to my face. I can say, I met hope today. But as we think about hope, we want to look at the fact that we are in a pandemic, and some things that could nibble away at your hope would be stress. And stress is one of those things that really can traumatize your hope. I mean, we are in the middle of a crisis. Jobs are being lost, and so much is going on. Lives are being lost, and we're still sheltered in. How do we safeguard ourselves? Well, there's this trauma specialist that's written this book, and he says that the body keeps score in the brain and the mind, but the body keeps score of when you've been traumatized. And they've learned all of these things from veterans who've been in wars in Vietnam, but they've studied the impact of trauma. And so we want to keep our little antenna up to kind of safeguard ourselves and say, what am I feeling? What is this? Is today a day where it's feeling a little more than I can bear? Am I feeling a little overwhelmed? Is it just too much today? I think we talked about once that there will be times where you're not okay. I've had days when I was not okay. So it is okay to have those days when you're not okay, but we don't want to stay in those not okay periods for too long, because that has an impact on our body. If we stay sad and depressed, then that lowers our immune system. It's talking to the brain. It's saying, things aren't going too well. So the brain starts saying, well, then I don't need to work on all the organs because you're only using part of them. So we got to keep it in the middle, because we don't want to get anxious, because then we're thinking about tomorrow. We're thinking about what's going to happen when I re-enter the jobs, when I come out of being sheltered, when I get ready to go back to work, when I get ready to go into a restaurant. We get a little anxious because we've been sheltered in, and we've become a little vulnerable, and we have to keep in mind that we're real, we're human. We have these real triggers that we have to be aware of. So I'm just telling you today to focus on your hope and safeguarding it, to not have to wait to go on the defense. We want to be on the offense. We want to keep doing those things that suit us up, so that we can be full of hope, or we can feel with our compass, or with our innermost being, we can feel when we're starting to drift. And so remember that you can start to lose hope. And there is a book that was written by a rabbi, Naomi Levy, and she wrote a book that says, Hope Will Find You. I found that book to be excellent, because here she was a rabbi, and she had everything going for her. She had her dreams being met. She was the first female rabbi in her congregation, and everything was going well. And she had a child that was born with some type of degenerative disease, and it threw her for a loop, and it took her on a journey through all sorts of emotions. But in the end, she came through it. And it helps for us to remember that when traumas and things are going on, that there are journeys. There are no quick fixes. We are on this journey now. We don't know when it's going to end, but we know that we're going to continue doing what we're doing, supporting each other, thriving virtually, reaching out to each other, and just loving each other. I love you. Be safe. Continue the protocols. Maintain your hope. And I'll see you again another time. Have a good night.